I really didn't see the month going quite like this. Hey everyone, welcome back to Andrew's Wizardly Reads, and it is time for the mid-month check-in. Before we get into that, please do me a favor, like this video and subscribe to the channel, as it does help the channel grow. You can check the description box down below for links to all my social media, including my Pango books, my Patreon, the Discord. It's all there for you to explore. There's some exciting stuff going on the Patreon right now. We are currently running a giveaway for the midnight edition of the Dandelion Dynasty, so that's going to be going on for a few more days after this video comes out. But we're also giving away a Kickstarter edition of Pursuit of Shadows by J.A. Andrews. Let me just reach over here and get it. I've got this cosmetically flawed edition that I am giving away on that Kickstarter as well, for US only. There's a video on the Patreon if you want to check it out in case you're interested. That said, let's talk about the reading. Let's put that on the ground. Let's talk about the reading, because the reading has been going I've only finished one book at this point in the month, and that's because I had a DNF at 50% and a DNF at like 35 or 40% on two of my books. And then I'm very deep into 3 books, which will be done probably by Wednesday or something like that. The book I finished is Different Seasons by Stephen King. This is a collection of 4 novellas. We've got The Breathing Method, Apt Pupil, The Body, and Rita Hayworth and Shawshank Redemption. And I liked this. Did I love it? No. For different reasons. I thought the bookends were flawless. I thought Breathing Method was horrific. Like, it was just beautifully done horror. Like, oh, so incredibly good. And then Shawshank Redemption, or Rita Hayworth and Shawshank Redemption, fantastic. I thought Apt Pupil needed to be a hair longer, just because there's some decisions and character twists that kind of happen that I'm just like, that just kind of happens with no real explanation, and I didn't really love that. And then The Body, I felt should have been shorter, because it's kind of like, it's a memoir style almost, where we've got the main character who's a writer chronicling back this event that happened when he was a kid, and then he throws in random like short stories as well. There's one about like some dude named Chico, and there's a pie eating contest, and I just didn't need those in there. Like, if you could have easily done the memoir style and just given me the flashbacks to this quartet of boys on this journey to go look at a body, and I would have actually rated this much higher. So I'm kind of mixed on Different Seasons, but overall I enjoyed the experience. So that's out of the way. Then we've got the 2 DNFs to talk about, and I may try and come back and move. Like, I got mad enough to DNF this to the point where I grabbed all of this author's books that I had just hauled off of the shelf, and I was going to unhaul them, and then I actually did list them on Pango, and then like 48 hours left. Luckily, nobody had purchased it. I calmed down enough to unlist it on Pango, put it back on my shelf, and be like, maybe it was just a me thing, but I had such a visceral reaction to the bad character writing in a specific scene that I was done. And for right now, this has been DNF, but it still remains on the shelf, which is a rare thing. I'm willing to like read other stuff from this author, then come back and finish this book out. I'm talking about Grady Hendrix's My Best Friend's Exorcism. There's a conversation in here that, as a parent to a young girl, that I can't fathom. I can't wrap my head around it. To me, it's bad character writing. It's bad just presenting parents as awful human beings, which, by the way, both parents in this book, they're terrible. Right up to that point, I was actually having a really good time. But that one scene, like, no matter what else I can say, it's colored by that one scene and that one reaction. I don't know if it's supposed to be social commentary or what. I hated everything about that scene and about that reaction that these parents give to Abby, who is the protagonist, and then Gretchen is the girl who is going through the possession. One thing I will say about the physical edition of this book is gorgeous. It's like an old VHS book, or VHX box. Like, it's got staff pick, it's got, like, you know, a novel, Be Kind, Rewind, which, if you don't know, VHSs were like cassette tapes that had to be rewound every time you wanted to rewatch a movie. And I love the aesthetic of this book. And I was really excited about this because I'd heard from channels like from Mike Book Reviews and other channels that this was a pretty good read. And I hate DNF'd this book at about 45%. I hated the scene so incredibly much, and I feel like I'm repeating myself, but it did not sit well with me as a father of a daughter. I cannot fathom that reaction. So this is a DNF. And then we've got The September House by Carissa Orlando. And I love the premise of this book. I just think it's clunky and poorly executed. The type of person who would have to endure the type of haunted house this is. Essentially, what we've got here is we've got a haunted house that is haunted all year round, but really ramps up in September. And this person has lived in this haunted house for 4 years now, just stubbornly ignoring the blood seeping from the wallpaper, and the housekeeper with the axe wound in her head, and the kid who tries to bite you anytime you go near him. His eyes go black, and he tries to bite you. The violent ghost trapped in the basement, and all of that. Been living with it for 4 years because reasons. I don't know. I just have to assume that the main character has poor survival instincts, and it's not like it's a secret. Like, the neighbor lady knows. She has it, like, the house blessed quarterly by a Catholic priest to kind of just tamp down on some of the supernatural stuff. Like, just obstinate. Like, I know obstinate people. I just don't know people who are that obstinate. So I don't really have a point of reference. Anyway, the main character, which I forget her name, because Margaret, her husband goes missing, and the daughter calls, finds out, freaks out, and is, like, coming to see the house for the first time. And she's like, oh no, my daughter's going to try and make me move out of my haunted house. Which, yeah, as she should. And then, like, stuff starts happening. And Margaret's just got information and knows where, like, bodies are buried. Because, yeah, reasons. And there's no connective tissue on how she acquired that sort of information. And that's where, like, it started stretching my... I mean, you always have to suspend some sort of, like, disbelief when you're reading. This tried to make me suspend it a little too much. So I was just like, okay, am I going to continue reading this? So I did something that I shouldn't have done. I flipped and I read the last chapter. And I hated it. I hated that ending so much that I was just like, okay, yeah, this is, I'm glad I'm not finishing this book. So this is a DNF as well. And I do not advocate for flipping to the back of a book unless, like, you're just, like, really on the fence and you're like, is this gonna be a worthwhile payoff? And for the September House, it's a resounding no for me. It gets a big NO from me. Now, what am I currently reading? I am currently reading Eyes of Empire. This is turn 5 of Hybrid Helix. And I'm about 53% at the time of recording through this. This is by J.C.M. Byrne. And it is fantastic. This is my 5th time reading this series because obviously it's the 5th entry, and Rowan continues to delight. There's some great evolution of story and world. Something I really appreciate about Hybrid Helix is so far, not a single title has been like, oh yeah, we've been here, we've done that. Like, it's all been fresh and new. Like, book 1, you get introduced to Rowan. Book 2, and like what the hybrids are. Book 2, you get to go back to Earth. Book 3, we get to throw in vampires. Book 4, we get to kind of call back into some of the history. And here we're, like, exploring the wormholes now. It's fantastic. And so far, Hybrid Helix has yet to have a miss for me. So I'm really, really, really enjoying this. And then I'm about 53% into Kagan the Damned by Jonathan Mayberry. This is like Saga of the Forgotten Warrior meets Hannivar with some Eldritch Gods thrown in, or Elder Gods, if you will, thrown in. There's a lot of melodrama in here, and so it's done beautifully through audio by Ray Porter, which is I am also listening to, and I think that has made this experience even better, because normally melodrama is something that bothers me. Ray Porter's performance is just like melodrama, and then other characters are very exasperated by the melodrama, and so I like that the melodrama of Kagan is, they're like, yeah, you're being dramatic, dude. Like, calm down. And I don't know, Ray Porter brings that performance to life. And basically what we've got here is we've got a royal guard who guards the Empress's children. It's his off-duty day. Magic's been gone for 1,000 years, and all of a sudden, the last magic-bearing society who was conquered 3,000 years ago, I think, they rise up, they use magic, and they invade the city. They kill the family while he's off duty. He fights his way to the royal family, only to be a little too late, and then he goes into exile. And that's kind of where I'm at now, is like he's trying to figure out what to do with his life now. And it's very good. Kagan's an interesting character, especially when contrasted with other characters, and we get a lot of different viewpoints here. These are very, very short and digestible chapters. This book alone, at I think it's like 540 pages, has like 155 chapters. So very short, very digestible chapters, and we get like the Witch King of Hakias, who's the conquering, invading ruler. We get his viewpoints. We're following a historian. We're following nuns. We're following thieves. We're following all sorts of individuals, and of course Kagan himself. Very good stuff. I'm really, really enjoying this, and I have already purchased Son of the Poison Rose, which is book number 2, and I've got book number 3 on my Amazon wishlist, so I'll probably pick that up as soon as I start Son of the Poison Rose. Son of the Poison Rose. There we go. I can speak. And then Joe Hill's The Fireman. This is where I'm currently at. I'm exactly 50% of the way into this. This is fantastic. It's Joe Hill, so I'm not surprised. We've basically got this spore fungus sort of infection, and people are freaking out. It responds to stress. If you get too stressed, you spontaneously combust, and people are freaking out. But there's more to the spore, and there's more to the story. Basically, we've got Harper, who is this nurse, and it's just really, really good as she's trying to survive after she catches the spore. I'm really, really enjoying this series, and I can't wait to check out more Joe Hill. I've got a bunch of books. I don't know how I'm going to get to them this month, but we're just going to have to see what happens. I've got Fit to Die, Necroscope, Dreams of Dust, End of Watch, River of Souls, White Wolf. You get the drift. But let me know how your reading month is going. But that's all I've really got for you today, guys. So till next time, peace out. Stay magical. Bye. And as always, I want to give a huge thank you to my patrons. Thank you for supporting my passion and my hobby. It means the world to me.